We care so you don't have to.
Side-eye. That was a common look between me and David. Let's roll playback. Hi, Kelsey Grammer here. We're going to look at a few scenes from the hit show Frasier, and I may have a few insights to offer.
I love my new library. I love the solitude. I miss Frederick like the Dickens, of course. You know, he's quite a boy. He's playing goalie on the Pee Wee soccer team now. Chip off the old block.
You hated sports.
So does he.
Of course, this is when you first see the brothers together. David Hyde Pierce is Niles Crane. It's interesting Frasier's talking about sports. I was actually kind of a sportsman. I liked it, so this was always an odd thing for me. It fit the character.
I know this isn't going to be anyone's favorite solution, but I took the liberty of checking out a few convalescent homes for him.
So they're talking about whether or not one of them is going to take their dad in.
You certainly
And
can't
this
take
is
care
when
of me
we
or just
first
getting
learn
your
about
new
Martin
life
and his
together. Absolutely.
disability, and the question comes up about Maris.
Of course, I can't take care of him.
Oh, yes, of course. Why?
Because Dad doesn't get along with Maris.
Who does?
I thought you liked my Maris.
I do. I like her from a distance.
The invention of Maris was something that had happened actually on Cheers. I think Norm's wife, Vera, I'm pretty sure her name was. We never saw her. And it's an interesting device because you get to talk about someone without seeing them, so it honestly becomes impossible to cast them. I mean, you couldn't really ever cast Maris, and that was what made her funny. She was as thin as a coat rack, that is referred to in another episode about the Barracuda, if I remember right.
You know, the way you like the sun. Maris is like the sun, except without the warmth.
Well, then we're agreed about what to do with Dad. Golden Acres. We care so you don't have to.
Side-eye. That was a common look between me and David. The show was titled The Good Son. This is why he takes in his dad.
Dad, listen, I don't want to offend, but if you wouldn't mind, could you just leave me alone, let me read my book?
No problem.
There's an old rule of thumb about sitcoms. You start with the first show, and then the second show you basically just repeat the same story, so that it's not unfamiliar territory, just in case they miss something the first time through.
What are you doing?
I'm leaving you alone.
Well, it's very annoying.
What's your problem? You've been sucking a lemon all week.
All right.
This one just reminds us that Frasier's taken in his dad, played brilliantly by John Mahoney. John Mahoney had done the very last episode of Cheers, and he and I had lost so well that when we started to construct this new show, I called him and said, would you be interested in playing my dad? Now, I think John was only 15 years older than me, so that was a little bit of a leap of faith there.
When you invited me to move in, I didn't realize I had to stay chained to the radiator in my room.
Perhaps only evenings.
I heard that.
Well, of course you heard it. You're never out of earshot.
You know, you've always been like this. You were always a fussy little kid, and it's gotten worse ever since. You and your precious morning routine. You gotta have your coffee. You gotta have your quiet. You gotta have this. You gotta have that. Well, aren't you the little hothouse orchid?
Hey!
He was so good in the role, and such a sort of an everyman. And of course, he was actually a very, very polished fellow. John was from England. He had come to America during his time in the Army. Actually, he always talked about the Salvation Army because at Christmas time, that's where he would end up spending his Christmases when he was away from home. Had a wonderful career, and he was a wonderful guy.
I don't have to sit here and listen to that.
If you want everything so perfect, why don't you go live in a bubble?
Oh, well, all right. Right now it sounds very inviting.
Finally, a little peace and quiet around here.
With the good actors, you don't really remember anything about the fact that it was just a great moment together. I mean, he just always hit his mark. He was always right about things. He knew exactly where this character lived, and I was pretty good at hitting where Frasier lived too. So it was a good acting relationship.
Roz, I think we have time for one more.
Yes, Dr. Crane. On line 4, we have Russell from Kirkland.
Hello, Russell. This is Dr. Frasier Crane. I'm listening.
Yeah, this is from the very first show, actually. Frasier's trying out his hand at radio psychiatry. We took painstaking effort to copy a radio station that we went to in Los Angeles to build this set originally.
My life's not going anywhere. It's not that bad. It's just same old apartment, same old job. Sometimes
Russell,
I just...
we're just about at the end of our hour. Let me see if I can cut to the chase by using myself as an example. 6 months ago, I was living in Boston. My wife had left me, which was very painful. Then she came back to me, which was excruciating.
We always try to keep the advice, at least, if not irresponsible, just, light, because I can't imagine you can solve anybody's problem just over the radio. And Frasier, of course, the character is so pompous himself that he tends to go on and on. Now, Roz does say here at the beginning that we only have time for one more call, but Frasier does run out. Of course, every time he talks about Lilith, it's painstaking anyway.
You see, I was clinging to a life that wasn't working anymore, and I knew I had to do something, anything.
The idea of him sort of hitting the ground running in this world of being a radio shrink was a kind of a stroke of genius by the writers, I think. And it fit into a kind of a avuncular quality that I have myself, I guess, that seemed right.
Will you do that, Russell? Will you? Russell? I think we lost him.
No, we cut to the news 30 seconds ago.
For crying out loud! I finally bare my soul to all of Seattle, and they're listening to Chopper Dave's Rush Hour Roundup.
You know, we always were very careful about not getting too locked into a contemporary culture of the time that we were shooting the show, but I'm not sure we have Chopper Daves anymore. Someone usually talks about what's going on with the traffic, but I guess I'm not sure anybody's in the air anymore for that. Rush Hour Roundup. Pretty good consonants there.
Tyler, Niles Crane. Yes, I was wondering if you were available on the 19th. Wonderful. Dinner for 10. That's great. I'll call you later on. We'll discuss the menu. Thanks. Bye-bye.
That is wonderful. All right. We've got you, me, and the fabulous Ashbys.
This is a scene from season 3 where Frasier and Niles are planning a dinner party. Now, I'm not sure anyone's actually planned a dinner party like this since possibly this show, or maybe back in the 50s. This banter is extraordinary.
All right. All right. We will each have the right to blackball, let's say, 3 guests.
The black ball, well, you know, the black ball is a traditional thing in like sort of men's clubs or that kind of thing where people, I mean, getting blackballed was a big thing in Hollywood years ago during the House Un-American Activities hearings. But blackballing just meant, they weren't invited.
You loathe the Duncans. You just want me to waste a blackball.
That's insane. I adore the Duncans.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well then, perhaps I've misjudged them. Very well, Niles. The Duncans it is. Nina and Arch.
Oh, stop it. They're hideous. How about the Wolperts?
Oh, I like the Wolperts.
Finally.
Yes.
Oh, the Gordons.
I love the Gordons. Now we're rolling.
How about the DeFalcos?
Blackball. She is a twit.
Their knowledge of this many people, I don't know this many people, but they do go through it.
Blackball.
Look, if you're going to... Wait a minute, you're out of blackball. This is a dried up old fig.
So is Missy Cromwell. I don't want her at my party.
It was always a phenomenon. We acknowledged it when we were actually shooting the show, and that a show about 2 men like this could be on the air at all was surprising to us. I mean, usually it was a bit more of an everyman kind of thing, the sitcom. There wasn't very much highfalutin comedy around. This was as close to sort of restoration comedy as you could get on television, I think, and this kind of dialogue, I've never seen it on a show since. But they are wonderfully strange creatures, these 2. And their relationship is clearly filled with any number of peccadillos and old rivalries and resentments. But they're very good at keeping a lid on it all. What is interesting about it is I believe that these 2 actually maybe could exist in some strange world. It's just not mine.
We have Ted, who is feeling a little disconnected.
Go ahead, Ted.
This is almost an old vaudeville joke. He feels disconnected, then they disconnect him. That might have been a joke by David Lloyd. He was good with those. David Lloyd was Christopher Lloyd's dad, who worked on the show quite a bit and actually was a very, very funny guy. Used to write for Johnny Carson when he shot in New York City.
How can I help you?
You can get me Roz. I'm her manicurist, and she called for an appointment.
I'll call you back later, Dorothy.
The manicurist joke, well, it becomes clear that something's wrong with Roz and she's not up to her game. That becomes pretty obvious. And it's interesting, I thought when I first watched this that it was fun to see Frasier now be the expert and Roz being sort of at odds with things. Their relationship originally was that she helped him so much understanding how to get around in the radio show. But they've developed a real care for one another.
I'm sorry, Frasier.
Sorry just doesn't cut it, Roz. What kind of explanation can there possibly be for this level of unprofessionalism?
I think I'm pregnant.
Pregnant?
Well, I don't know for sure yet. I took one of those home tests, and it was sort of iffy, so I went to see my doctor, and he's going to call me with results later.
But, Roz, how?
I don't know how. No one is more careful than I am when it comes to birth control. But then again, even the best protection is only effective 99 out of 100 times. I can't beat those odds.
Yes, I suppose you've been dodging that bullet for a long time now.
It's nice, the relationship that developed between Frasier and Roz. They were really honest with each other, and they developed a great bond. We brought her back for the reboot because it's really one of his greatest relationships, and maybe it was one of my favorite lines we had in another episode here where Frasier basically suggests to her at one point, he says, what do you say, Roz? You know, years from now, things haven't gone so well, whatever, or we're not with anybody. Maybe you and I should. And then she finishes a sentence by saying, kill each other. he reveals he was going to say marry each other, but it didn't quite work that way.
Hey, tell your brother, I'm going to his charity thing tonight.
Yes.
I just found the perfect costume.
And as what literary character will you be attending?
Waldo. From Where's Waldo? He's in like in 16 books. You call yourself well-read.
I think maybe I was always maybe too close to Frasier sometimes. I really didn't know who Waldo was.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, welcome back to the room in which I changed your lives forever.
Does it seem like he's gearing up for something?
Yep, gonna be late. Oh, hey, Dad, I got a question about punctuation.
Ooh! No, stay on task.
It's funny in the new Frasier, the reboot. We wanted to be respectful of the old show, but also to step into the new show with a kind of an understanding that the older characters weren't going to really be there anymore, but there'd be similar dynamics. So in a pretty clear lift, the Niles relationship became the relationship with Alan Cornwall, who is, Frasier's ostensibly best friend.
We bought a ham.
An 18-pound, acorn-fed jamon iberico.
Oh, wow. This is better than sex.
Frasier never had a friend on the show Frasier. He just had Niles. So it occurred to us, and actually my wife mentioned this. She said, well, we never really saw Frasier with anybody but his brother. 5 years ago, I did Man of La Mancha with Nicholas Lyndhurst, who is pretty much a national treasure in the UK. And I asked him back then, I said, we're thinking about doing a reboot of Frasier. And he said, I would give anything in my life to be on that show with you. So the friendship basically existed before the show did.
It's usually just me and those two grumpy Muppets over there.
This is Dr. Frasier Crane. I'm listening.
People used to ask, well, how is it you make a character significant, relevant, fresh for 11 seasons or 20 years or whatever it is? And I always just said, well, a character is just as fresh as life is. And for me, life is worth living every day. And so surely there's enough funny stuff going on in the world you can write a good show still.
Oh my God, they traded your baby for wine!
Do you really think we would trade John for white Zinfandel? Or any wine?
Be sure to check out Frasier. We're streaming now on Prime Video. Took him long enough.